Hello everyone, this is Kyler, and today I will be talking about introducing myself professionally as a future engineer slash programmer. So the first point I'm going to talk about is how and why I got involved in engineering, or specifically computer science. So I got involved in this field because mostly in part because of my parents, who both have achieved master's degrees from the University of Michigan in their respective engineering disciplines. They've been in engineering and computer science all throughout their life, and this has been the driving force as to why I chose this as my future career path. So, for me, I started programming at around freshman year of high school. I've had 3 to 4 years of experience, taking all the intros and all the advanced programming courses, AP Computer Science, and even an advanced course called Advanced Graphics, which was a non-college credit course where we made games and graphical applications on all little gimmicks that were a lot of fun. The second point I have is that I've also been on the programming team when I was in high school. I've also had this competitive aspect of programming, and I went to all the colleges and learned all sorts about each computer science department and how each of the departments were different. And I eventually stood on the choice of going after the UF career, the UF college, because I felt their department offered the most. So the final point I have is that I want to graduate from the University of Florida with a computer science degree in the year 2019, and this will be the final piece before I can actually start my career and actually go after the engineering world. So I will now talk about my planned career, the typical job description of a programmer, the daily duties, the requirements, the average qualifications, and the average day skills and duties that would be expected of him or her. So the first reference I have is a typical programmer sample job description of uh, a typical application. And the sample lists that the typical duties you would be expected average day program to have would be project knowledge of project requirements, being able to understand and arrange those requirements, being able to encode those requirements, being able to understand coded information, keep effective communication with your clientele, being able to ensure the operation of certain equipment, historical records, and all those sorts of typical duties that would be expected of your typical programmer. The next point was the skills and qualities of this sample, which listed typical knowledge of general programming skills, analyzing information, problem solving, algorithm design, software performance, and all those sorts of typical skills. The next reference I have listed 5 points that every programmer should know or at least have. The first point list, or the first point that stuck out, was the communication aspect, but not just communication in the sense of a one-on-one communication in a board or a meeting, but communication also through effective decision-making life choices. So in life, when you will eventually have to make these choices, and when you eventually have to make these important decisions, you're going to have to choose sides. You're going to have to decide what is the direction of your company or your group, and you're going to have to take a strong stance and relay that information to whomever you are speaking to or whoever is above you, your VP, your directors, your executives, etc. The third reference I have is the projections for the job market growth of the software developers, programmers, and the career paths. So all the references online all state that the software developers and the programmers, their career paths are all going to increase. The job demand is going to be steadily increasing as the years go by. And the salary, not only that, but the salaries will also increase, which is a real shocker because the salaries are already at a great deal of money, which is already on an average, just an average of around $100,000, which is a great sum of money. The next points I'll talk about are my future goals and my plans. So the first one, I want to get an internship at any company, any engineering related company. And the first reference I have explains that these are vitally important because they are for building your resume and improving your interview skills, which have somewhat become a an expected an expected requirement throughout this particular field. And the final point I'll have is perseverance was from my final reference. And perseverance in the sense of all throughout your career, you're going to have challenges and downsides, and you have to persevere. and you have to get through it, and you always have to make sure you stay focused to the game plan and never have this quit or defeatist mentality, and to always be focused. And I will hope to do this all throughout my career, and I hope to stay true to engineering.